As a design build company, you're handling everything from permits to construction, design, and everything in between. And so that's the same with your marketing. You want to make sure that all the different pieces fit together. The messaging is consistent, the branding is consistent. Okay, today we're going to be talking about how to get higher value remodeling clients for your design build remodeling company. Some of the key ways to drive higher value inquiries is having an exceptional portfolio with really great photos that really capture the essence of each project. Clear brand positioning. I'll talk about problems that you're solving and how it impacts your clients' day-to-day lives. What kind of life are you creating for them? Testimonials, reviews are an essential part of building your authority and establishing trust with your clients. So that's definitely an area to focus on. Your website should have a premium feel to it so that when your clients get to it, they can envision the personal experience they're going to have with you as well as the end result that they're going to get. Because if you care this much about your website, how much more would you care about their home? And of course, your website has to rank well on Google. And so for that, you want to make sure that you have an organic traffic strategy to get those search rankings up and really dominate your area. In addition to that, another great way to target the higher value clients is through paid ads, whether that's Google or Meta. The best is a combination of both. Your ultimate goal, especially with your website, is to make it so that your clients feel like they really come home, because then you will be the one they'll choose because they can really envision the experience that they're going to have with you. Before we get into what to include to drive those inquiries, here are a couple areas that really might be turning people away. Poor quality photos, definitely going to be a turnoff. If they can't really visualize what they're looking at, they might have a harder time choosing you over your competitors because competitors are really selling them vision with the photos that they have. Your website, if it's outdated and old and clunky and hard to use, maybe the messaging is also all over the place, that's gonna be a deterrent from people choosing you because, again, if you care about your website so much, how much more are you gonna care about their house? You also wanna make sure, if information is incorrect about the internet, they could be getting the wrong phone number, maybe you've moved and so they're getting the wrong location. All these different factors could be at play and why you're not getting the clients that you're looking for. And with messaging, if you are being too pushy, too salesy, you're probably gonna turn away some of those clients that are looking for that more relational aspect that comes along with doing these high-end design build projects. And finally, if your website just isn't showing up in Google because your Google business profile is messed up or not optimized or doesn't exist, or your website is just not set up correctly to show up in Google, if that's the case, then it's going to be super challenging for anybody to find you. When your clients are searching for your services, they probably have actually been already looking at this for quite a while now. They've been thinking about the project, the issues that it's posing, maybe sometimes it's just a small irritation that just builds over time. So they're probably coming to you for multiple reasons. It's not just one specific thing. And they've probably done a lot of other Google searches, compiling information, compiling maybe inspiration. All these different things come into factor. And by the time they get to your website, they could be ready to move forward, or they still might be in that research phase. So you really want to be able to meet them where they're at. Are they actually looking to set up a meeting right then and there to get started on their project immediately? They might be, they might not be. So you want to make sure, are we speaking to both the people that are looking for an immediate start to a project, or maybe they're still a couple months out? There are a couple ways to really speak to both of those buyer personas. And so we want to make sure everything is put together. But they also may be coming into this project pretty hesitant because they've heard horror stories of different contractors not finishing a project, or the workmanship is just really lacking. They really might not know what they want or what's possible. So someone might be reaching out to you to just kind of get some more information to see if remodeling is even in the picture for them, because some people are also choosing between moving and remodeling. Remodeling sometimes seems like a bigger hassle than moving. So we want to be able to calm them down before they even talk to us, get them more comfortable so they can see that you truly can interpret what they're saying, interpret their fears and anxieties, and then help them along the way. At the end of the day, a lot of the issues here is about trust and can they trust you to deliver the results that they want. And speaking of trust, here are a couple of trust signals that your website really needs to have. Your portfolio, again, needs to be super high quality photos that really capture the essence of each space. Clear and compelling messaging that speaks directly to where they're at, where they're coming from. It should address their fears, their pain points, but then also be comforting to them in a way to where they can envision how you're able to help them. Another trust signal, big one, are reviews. The more reviews that you have, the better. I would shoot for over 70 reviews. The average contractor actually has under 20, but the top contractors have about 50 to 60, maybe 70s on the high end actually. Because you're doing larger projects, it can seem a little discouraging that you can can look at some like a handyman or a plumber or different subcontractors. They could probably get a lot more reviews because they're seeing multiple people per week versus working with one homeowner for months. So that's where if you're able to get to 70 reviews on Google, that's exceptional. And Google will look at that as a trust signal. Having your branding consistent is also key for building trust. They want to be able to see that you took care in all the different platforms, that you're not necessarily copy and pasting the same words, but just the same tone, same vibe everywhere. And overall, the experience that they have going from platform to platform, because when somebody's searching for you, they don't just go to your website. They don't just go to Google. They don't just ask ChatGPT, and they don't just go to your social media. Most likely, they have multiple tabs looking at everything all at once, as well as your competitors. So what's the difference between a home service website versus a high-end design build remodeling company or interior designer website? Somebody goes to a general contractor or a plumber, other type of home service company website, they're probably looking for a little bit more of an immediate need. Something broke with their plumbing and they need it fixed. I think a key differentiator between a general home service website and a high-end design build remodeling website is it's very relational. The home service is probably going to lean towards the transactional, come and fix this or install this, versus relational, where you're working super closely with perhaps the in-house architect, interior designer, project manager, all the different people. There's a much closer relationship there than with an electrician, plumber, or the roofer. This is not to say that those type of websites wouldn't benefit from relational aspects, but it's just, I think, a key differentiator between the two: transactional, relational. So what are some practical things that you can make sure on your website that would be able to enhance it and speak more directly to your audience? You want to make sure you have a clear value proposition. Discuss what's at stake if they don't choose you. You know, especially if you're design build, you're handling all of the different aspects of the remodel. You're taking care of permits, you're taking care of the design and the building and the construction and the project management, everything all at once. And so you really want to be able to establish that on your website, to be able to convey it in a way that makes them see that it's much less work on them and they're going to have a nicer experience than if they have to manage all the different aspects of the remodel. And you want to be able to empathize with them because they're going through a lot of different pain. That's why they reached out to you. And even if it's just an aesthetic issue where they want it just updated, it's not they just want it updated. That in itself is still causing them some sort of a pain. It could be it's a status issue where they want to be able to have the best of the best and the most recent. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't always have to be an emergency for it to be a pain. The other thing that you want to have is a simple, perhaps 3-step process to do business with you. This just breaks it down so it's a no-brainer to get in touch. Of course, you want to make sure, again, you have a great portfolio section displaying all of your best projects with super high quality photos. This is a tip I see a lot of people get wrong. They focus on the website speed, which is important. However, if you are sacrificing the quality of your images for website speed, that actually could be detrimental because it's less about, I need a quick fix. It's about choosing somebody they can trust and selling a dream. But if they're getting there and the photos just are pixelated or they're poorly taken, that's not going to sell the dream. And make sure you have some social proof with some reviews, perhaps a feature in a publication. And then there's always this stuff that you can't necessarily see, which is the SEO or the search engine optimization. There's technical SEO, which you really can't see. And then there's more of a hierarchical structure. How we're structuring the website, the headers, the body, all those different things, they actually do impact the user experience as well as how Google is interpreting your website and serving it in the search results. When someone lands on your website, they should be able to answer a couple key questions: who you are, what you do, how you're going to make their life better, and how to get the results. So we want to make sure that within a split second when they land on that website, they're sold the dream within a millisecond. So how do you actually get people to your website? A couple key things: an optimized Google business profile. This is that thing that shows up in Google Maps. It also shows up on the side when you search for your business. SEO is something that's ongoing and long-term, and it stands for search engine optimization. This is a pretty broad field, and it includes things like blog posting, content additions to your website. Also, there's a lot of technical back-end stuff that isn't really visible, but it helps serve your website in search results. Additionally, there's stuff that happens off of your website with other directory and publications you want to be able to point to your website. Google and Meta ads are terrific ways to really target your high-end clients. We can target top tier income brackets and exclude some lower tier income brackets. This way, you're more likely to reach the ideal clients that could afford your services. We can also target specific locations. So if there's different neighborhoods or zip codes that are more profitable for you, those are areas that you're going to want to target. And so we can do that through Google ads. And when people are searching for your service in that area, then your ads will be displayed to them. And brand recognition, that goes across the board. That's what's on your trucks, on the street signs, your website, social media. All these things should be giving people the same message. message. So when they see or hear your name, then they think of you and they think about the experience that they've had with you. Social media is also key. This is really great at building trust. You may find that you're not going to get the biggest audience, and that's okay. Of course, it could be that your content needs improvement, but think about this. Would you rather a million views around the world, or would you rather have a couple people in your area find you, look at your content, and then connect with you and hire you for a project? So you can see, even if you have lower views, but when people are going from your website or in Google and they find your social media, they see it's active, they see it's legitimate, looks trustworthy, shows some more of your projects. When they see that, they're more likely to connect with you than if you don't have your social media active, or if you haven't posted in forever. They might think that you've gone out of business. So you want to make sure that you're staying consistent with that, because that is another piece of your brand infrastructure that is all working together, just like a design build project, where everything has to work together for the project to be flawless. That's actually a really good way to look at your marketing. As a design build company, you're handling everything from permits to construction, design, and everything in between. And so that's the same with your marketing. You want to make sure that all the different pieces fit together. The messaging is consistent, the branding is consistent, and just the way you show up is consistent. But it also should all be telling a story of how you're going to make their life better. If you have any questions or found this useful, leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.